I'll have a beer.
I've been telling my youngest kid that I'm 72. So if you could edit the 48 thing out, I don't want him to learn that I'm not 72. He'll ask me things like, "How old were you when the Titanic was alive?" Oh, I remember that well.
You're listening to Two Friends, Two Poems, the podcast where friends read poems to each other just to see what happens. My name's Tom, and this was my idea. Today we have another special Three Friends episode as we're joined once again by Mark Smith, who shares a poem by JRR Tolkien. Heard of him? Tom reads a poem by Georgia poet laureate Chelsea Rathburn, and Paul gets his Spanish on with a poem by Argentinian poet Antonio Machado before sharing an original work inspired by Tom's new job.
Well, we're already going, and we are joined once again by our buddy Mark Smith.
What an honor!
Yeah,
I'm like on the Saturday Night Live 5-time thing, you know. If I keep going,
you're definitely going to be the Tom Hanks.
Hello, Paul.
Hello.
I hope everybody has poems today because that was the assignment.
Yeah, no, I'm ready. I have my two. I've
Okay.
got a couple. Yeah, we can
You've
jump.
got two?
Has anything poetic happened since your last visit, Mark?
I found some time to be with my wife, and I reminisced about a lot of things, and we had a great conversation, and we laughed. I felt like it kind of lightened my spirits a little bit. I was reminiscing about different things, and you know, just things that we found funny that we'd said to each other, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that was kind of fun. That was nice, which is kind of what my poem is about. Again,
Is it?
well,
What? Who's the poet and poem? What did you bring?
I brought some Tolkien, John Ronald Rule,
All right.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought one of the R's was Rowling.
John Rowling Rule. John Rule Rowling. No, John.
JK.
Talk to me about his poetic.
Well, in the Lord of the Rings and in the Hobbit, I mean, which are his most obviously well-known works. Poetry is woven throughout the whole thing. And honestly, the cool thing about, are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Oh, yes, this is actually one that was in the Lord of the Rings, but he wrote it before he wrote the Lord of the Rings, and it's actually given by Bilbo in the books. So it's called I sit beside the fire and think. I sit beside the fire and think of all that I have seen, of meadow flowers and butterflies and summers that have been, of yellow leaves and gossamer and autumns that there were, with morning mist and silver sun and wind upon my hair. I sit beside the fire and think of how the world will be when winter comes without a spring that I shall ever see. For still there are so many things that I have never seen. In every wood, in every spring, there is a different green. I sit beside the fire and think of people long ago and people who will see a world that I shall never know. But all the while I sit and think of times there were before. I listen for returning feet and voices at the door.
Oh man.
And I think the thing that hits me with this one is, and being, we're all 48 now, I think, right?
Sure.
At this particular time in my life, I find myself actually thinking a lot about the past and actually living in it and reliving it, and not necessarily like in a bad way, but there is kind of like just a reminiscing as you get older. I think you do about those things that meant a lot to you. And I think the thing that always I have to come back to is this last stanza, which is I can reminisce, I can think of the future, I can think of the things that I need to do or want to do still in this life. But I've got to remember those feet that are walking up to the bedroom to go to bed at night. I've got to think about that door that's closing as they walk in the door from school, that kind of thing. And I think that's super important for me now.
Oh yeah.
Well, I wanted to try something new for this.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I brought Antonio Machado, the Argentine poet, and I had to learn this in Spanish in high school. I like how it sounds in Spanish.
Yeah, I love that.
It starts with a prescript by Verlaine. Tournez, tournez, cheval de bois. Pegasos, lindos Pegasos, caballitos de madera. Yo conocí siendo niño la alegría de la vuelta sobre un corcel colorado en una noche de fiesta. En el aire polvoriento chispeaban las candelas y la noche azul ardía, todo sembrado de estrellas. Alegrías infantiles que cuestan una moneda de cobre. Lindos Pegasos, caballitos de madera. So I'm not going to do too much translating, but he's just enjoying watching children on a carousel and remembering himself riding on a red horse on a carousel.
There you go.
Bravo.
The poetic, universal thing that just happened.
Beautiful.
Both of our poems,
Yes,
reminiscing about the past,
amazing.
dwelling in the present. I love that.
My turn, I guess. This is a poem by Chelsea Rathburn. In March 2019, Rathburn was appointed Poet Laureate of Georgia, and in 2021 was awarded an Academy of American Poets Laureate Fellowship. So I was looking for some Georgia. This is called The Talker. The details of his story aren't the point, nor is the listener who looked as bored as we, two accidental eavesdroppers in a London restaurant. The point is, well, his point, which after 10 long minutes he came to abruptly and with a flourish, saying slowly and in perfect seriousness, all we are is dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. I think we bit our fingers to keep from laughing. I know we mocked him through Paris, Barcelona, Rome, and even years later, when one of us became a little too serious, the other would turn and quote his quote again, jabbing the air as he had jabbed the air. I picture him still sitting in some cafe, proclaiming we were always born to run, or urging wayward sons to carry on the way we tried to carry on. The couple at the next table who couldn't help but listen with so little of our own to talk about.
Mm.
Wow.
Oh, isn't that something? Oh, wow.
Kind of smacks you at the end.
Yeah.
I like how it does that at the end. Yeah, yeah.
And that's just amazing how they're talking about the thing that was so silly or so trivial to them, how it becomes something that they bring up every single time they're together traveling. Oh, it's great. Mundane,
Yeah.
cliched.
It does make me want to do that to someone, like just be like, everyone's trying to have a nice dinner conversation and be like, all we are is dust in the wind.
What is it like to be a rock but not to roll?
How does it feel to be on your own?
You spend too much time making love and not enough love making time.
Mark, I've been working on a project for a big tech company. During one of my training simulation things, I asked it to do a Yelp review for Pep Boys in the style of Bukowski. And it did it, I suppose. So,
all right.
And then that inspired Paul.
Because I love the idea that AI and the cloud are really just a warehouse of people waiting around
Yeah.
for some jackass to ask for that.
Hmm.
So this poem is called Online Review. Do you have any smokes? No, sir. Just auto parts sold with verve. Besides that, looks like you've already got cigarettes. You're a clever lady. Nice name embroidered uniform. She smiles wryly. The oil costs more than it used to, of course. What the hell happened to Ford? She does her work, hands me paper. Do you recycle oil here? She nods and points down the radiator hose aisle. You'll have to do that work yourself after you fill out this form. Don't you go using my personal info against me. She raises an eyebrow. Oh, I won't. We keep it secure on this clipboard. I take my new oil with me and empty it out. Maybe she'll grab my number. She yells, you could have just returned it. I need the empties in the receipt. Now I've done work. My tequila calls to me in Espanol. You want some too, senorita? I shouldn't. And we only have road salt. And that bottle looks warm. All the better. I drink and pass to her. She drinks. Dios mío. Hallelujah. What the hell happened to Ford? Ain't what it used to be. Adios. I'll be back again in 6,000 miles.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
I'm gonna add a saxophone under the whole thing.
Yeah.
Cigarette.
Wow.
I can do that, right?
This has been Two Friends, Two Poems, the podcast where friends read poems to each other. Today we heard poems by JRR Tolkien, Antonio Machado, and Chelsea Rathburn. Also want to give a special thanks to Wes Cunningham for letting us use his music. He sent this song while I was editing the podcast, so I'm going to shut up now and listen. Thanks for listening. Go write a poem.
A beer, maybe one more cigarette. Last call tonight, but we're not quite finished yet. Goes down smoother than fear. I'll have a beer. Pour me another one. I need to have some fun. I'm cool with everyone. So don't make me get sober again. I'll have a beer. Maybe one last cigarette. But you won't be here when I crawl into bed. I never could deny my true love. I'll have a beer.